Shabbat Shalom. I truly am thrilled, happy, and honored to be here with you today and to share with you a little bit of a Dvar Torah about a Parsha that is truly complicated. Why is it so complicated? Because it has 3 different stories in it, and they all seem to be so unrelated. The beautiful, wonderful, beloved president of this congregation actually called me yesterday to remind me that there is a certain time allocated to sermon. I said, but there are 3 different stories, and I prepared a 2-hour sermon. And I said, what can she do to me? I don't know. But I am going to try and put together 3 stories all together and try to understand with you why they are together in one parsha. Okay, to check on me. So the first story that we hear in the parsha is about Pinhas. Who is Pinhas? Never heard of him before. Pinhas is a man who saw a Jewish leader, a Midianite woman, non-Jewish woman, having very intimate relation right in front of what we would call our synagogue. If you came to the synagogue and you saw a Jewish leader with a Midianite woman having intimate relationship right by the door, I don't know what you would do. Maybe some of you would cheer them, all right, and the other people say, oh my gosh, what are they doing? This is disgrace to our religion. As always, the community will not have one opinion, correct? Because this is how we are made. Jews are not made to all agree with the same exact opinion. So people would have different opinions. It will be chaotic. It will definitely be disgrace to our Jewish religion. And keep in mind, while this is going on, there was a horrific plague, right, from God, that people were getting sick and dying one after the other. Pinchas and says, this gotta stop, and in his own hands, he take the cherev, the spear, and he just killed them both at once as this cherev, this spear, right, goes through both of them together. But this is like a serious bloody scene, right? And then what do we hear? That God make a covenant of peace with this man. And the whole Parsha is named after this man, Pinchas. And he says, this Pinchas is going to be a priest. His children and grandchildren will be priests. What an honor. What a divine gift. Let's put this on the shelf for a moment. We'll get back to it. This is, for me, personally, yes, it's valid, and yes, he did it because he loved God and loved the Jewish religion, and he wanted to save the Jewish community from completely deteriorating to a place, to a point where people are doing what they're doing right in front of the synagogue. He had his reason. He killed these 2 people. And God makes a covenant of peace, Brit Shalom, on somebody who just killed 2 people. And then the second story comes, and he talks about 5 sisters, the 5 daughters of Zelophehad. Zelophehad was a wealthy man, a good man. he died. And he had no sons. And at this time, the laws of inheritance are that only the sons, the men, get the inheritance. And if there are no men, they go to the brothers of the men who died, or to the uncles, but to the men. I want you to try to envision the bravery, the courage, and the determination of the 5 sisters. They decided to come with a bold demand. We want our father's land. As you are dividing the land of the promised land to all of the tribes, why should our father's name be completely forgotten from the family? Why shouldn't the daughters get it? Now stop. Now I'm bringing Rabbi Rikki's story into it because I have to relate it in what's happening today. Do you think for one moment that these 5 sisters had exactly the same opinion? 2 sisters cannot have the same opinions. So I say, use your imagination and try to listen to what happened the night before they came in front of Moses, the judges, and the entire community of hundreds of thousands of people. What happened in the tent? And if I had to guess, maybe the older one said, we are going to challenge the law. Yes, these laws are in the Torah. Yes, the Torah came from Mount Sinai, but it's unfair. It's not just. We're going to speak out and speak up. And another one said, you're out of your mind. Do you know what the consequences are going to be to go ahead and against the top title, the Moses and God and the Torah? People are going to think we are troublemakers, and we are all singles. 5 of us are singles. Who's going to want to marry any of us if the Lashon Hara in the community is going to be that we are troublemakers and we're challenging the law? And maybe the little one was very filled with anxiety and insecure, and maybe she said to the older sister, please don't do it. I'll never be able to show my face. I'm going to get myself out of this whole family if you're going to go in front. All we know, the proof is in the pudding. What's the pudding says? In the morning, they all walked out of the tent unified with their claim. We deserve to have the land that is promised to our father. He died without sons. It's not his fault. We should not become poor women who are begging for contribution when our father should have leave it for us. What does it teach us? What does it teach me? If it's unjust, I don't care if it's written in a constitution or in the Torah, we as Jews are allowed to ask questions and to challenge the authorities, because Moses listened to them and he had a conversation with God, and God said, they are right, change the law. This is the first time that we hear in recorded history that a group of women came and challenged a law that was written in the Torah. I'm not that naive, and I don't think that they want it all, because later on we find out that the leaders of the other tribes came and said, wait, Moses, what are you doing? What if one of these 5 women are going to go ahead and marry a man from a different tribe? Then the land is all of a sudden going to be transferred for another tribe. This is our land. We're dividing the promised land into the 12 tribes. Follow the money, always. Follow the possession, follow the property. Moses said, you're right. We are going to let them have this victory with one string attached. It's yours as long as you marry a man from your own tribe. It's a baby step. They did get it, but they're supposed to be marrying people with their own tribe, so the tribes is not going to lose these pieces of land to another tribe. This is the second story. We see one leadership style that takes, right, the law into their own hands, go, done. We see another leadership style with the 5 sisters. They played by the rules. They appealed to the court. They appealed to the people. They knew that their courage and their approaching the people will cost them. People will talk about them. There will be some lashon hara around, but they believed, they had the faith that if what they asked for is right, God will be with them. Whenever I read the Parsha, I said, how does it touch me? What in my life relates to it? And I want to tell you that what it teaches me, that one voice of one person can make ripple effect. And I want to share with you a story, short one, about my 90-year-old mother who was born and raised in Iran. 1949. Israel just became a free state. And what did they do? They sent shlichim. They sent shlichim and people to different Muslim countries to say to the youth, hey, come on. You don't need to have your passport. You don't need to have anything. Come to the capital city. We'll gather you and we will make you chalutzim and you're going to come to Israel. It's a holy land. It's your land. You're Jewish. We will take you with parents, without parents. We're taking the young one. And my mom, at the time, a teenager, she said, I'm going. She told her parents, are you going to go to Israel or are you going to stay here in Iran? Look, we have our wealth. What wealth? She came from a very poor family. They had their dishes maybe, and they had 2 or 3 goats. We're not talking about, condo, complex. We're talking about poverty. And my mom went to her Muslim best friend who lived across from her, and she said, tomorrow morning, I'm leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning. Please tell my parents if they look for me. I went to Tehran because she came from a small little village, not in Tehran. And there was a couple of days with donkeys and whatever. I'm going there to meet with all the other chalutzim from the different cities. And I'm going to Israel. And when she went there, she saw hundreds of kids. And people from Israel putting them into groups and making sure that they don't have lice and checking them and giving them whatever immunization and getting them ready to go. And all of a sudden, this man came here. Anybody saw Esther, the son of Miriam and Chaim from such and such village? And people were talking and people are talking. And my mom heard that someone is looking for her. They said, here, this man has been looking for you all over. So she said, what is it? And he said, your father is a real tzaddik. He went on Shabbat to the little synagogue. He took the Torah out. He said, I want the whole congregation to hear me. I swear on the Torah. Anybody who's going to go get my daughter back to me, tell her that I swear on the Torah that I will take the entire family. She had 8 brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts and a whole giant tribe of family. If she wants to go to Israel, does she want to go alone or she wants to have a much better credit in the mitzvah, taking everybody with her? And my mom said, he really swore on the Torah? She said, yes. His hand was on the scroll? Yes. Of course, I'm going back. And she did go back. And all of them came. And there is a whole neighborhood in Bnei Brak that is populated by my mother's family, business owners, you name it, attorneys, you name it. The whole neighborhood is them. She gets one little girl who spoke out, took action, caused this entire family to come and not to go through the torture of the Ayatollah Khomeini later on. 2 words about the last story. I told you 3 stories. It's Moses. Moses, God is saying, come to the mountain, and let me tell you, once you see the promised land from the mountain, you're going to join all of the people who died before you. You're not going to go in. You would expect Moses is a human being. Why didn't he say, God, for 40 years I suffered with this stiff-necked people. I did everything for them. I led them in the desert. Don't I get some recognition? No, he didn't say that. You know what he said? God, please, all I'm asking from you is let us find another leader so that your people are not going to be like sheep going without shepherd. 3 different types of leadership, but the most important, do not have fear, have faith, speak out, and do not ever be intimidated by titles of prime minister, presidents, or whatever. If it's wrong, speak out. Shabbat shalom. And I just want to tell you something. Those 5 sisters, I feel like they are my sisters, and I'm proud to say out of this congregation, I have several women who I adopted them as my sister by choice, because you have been nothing but the most accommodating to both Yoshi and I, and we truly love you all. Thank you so much. Shabbat shalom.